Hello and welcome to NoCB, a grand strategy podcast. This is for the week of November 18th, 2020. I am your host, Leon Hafer, and with me is our fantastic panel, including Rose.
Hey there.
Including Lambert.
Hello there.
Including Father Loris.
Sup? Hello.
And our guest this week from the Crusader Kings 3 team at Paradox Development Studio, we have Matthew Black Ninja on the forums.
Hey, everybody.
And since you're the guest this week, what we have a lot of CK3 to talk about. We're going to move that kind of the end of the show since our main topic. We're going to combine the Dev Diary discussion with all of our other stuff. If you have questions for Matthew that you want to post in chat, feel free to do so. We just cannot talk about future DLC plans, is what I have been specifically told by PR. So anything that's like not announced further along, in development, we won't be able to answer any questions about that. Let's start off. Matthew, what do you do at Paradox, and how did you get into grand strategy games?
Yeah, so I'm a programmer on the CK3 team. I've been at Paradox for a bit over 3 years now. I got started with grand strategy games by playing CK2, or well, more specifically, watching a video of CK2, buying the game, playing it for 10 minutes, closing the game, watching 8 hours of YouTube tutorials, and then playing the game properly.
Yeah.
A very common intro, I think, to some of our older strategy games.
Did anyone actually learn CK2 with watching a YouTube video at some point?
I mean, I tried the tutorial, and I mean, we don't need to speak about CK2's tutorial.
What tutorial?
I think I mostly learned it by actually, I played it for about 100 hours, and really at that point still didn't fully understand how to play it. I don't think I had found buildings yet when I hit 100 hours played. And then I would write articles about it, and people would be down in the comments be like, hey, did you know blah, 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 blah? And I was like, no, I absolutely did not. I have 120 hours in this game, and I didn't know you could do that. So that was
I remember the joy of when I one day got the load screen tooltip that said I could alt select to select just my boats. And I was like, oh my God, so many hours of my life wasted.
Yeah.
Revolutionary.
Uh-huh.
It's like in Vicky 2, but the moment you discover you can shift click to upgrade all your factories, it's like, oh my goodness, that has revolutionized this game now entirely.
Well, I think for about the first 200 or 300 hours of CK2, I never played Iron Man, and I played with cheats quite often. Gold, prestige, tech points.
That's kind of how
I still haven't played Iron Man CK2. At all. I got 1,200 hours or something in the game. Never turned Iron Man on.
That's
I've
how
got a tiny amount of Iron Man achievements, a very sadly low amount.
More than me. You married somebody. There you go. You beat me.
Yeah, that's the only one I have. Yeah, that's how I used to play RTS games. Back in the day when I was in elementary school playing Warcraft 2 is I was not good enough at RTS games to beat that game without cheats. So I would just make myself invincible because all I really cared about was seeing the story. So yeah,
that
was
same with Age of Empires. I think I still remember all the Age of Empires, was it Rock On to get the rocks?
Uh-huh.
I like the Monkey Head to get the super fast scout guy. How do you turn this thing on to get the car? I just remember that amazing.
One. Yeah, I miss the days. I miss the days back when they just had weird troll units that you could only spawn by putting in a cheat code. That was, I guess, EU4 kind of has that today with the bear invasion and the synthetics.
Yeah. True.
They literally just put a new 3D model in the game just as a troll unit. So that's,
they just need to add bears now. They've already they've definitely already got bears on the map from just the environmental units. So just scale that up. Put a gun on his back. You sorted, mate?
I guess he'd need to make a new animation rig for it, probably. But the model's already there.
Static.
So, you're
just a static model.
Yeah, he just slides around. Basically, he just slides around the map and
perfect.
Just put him on ice skates. That's all, or a hoverboard.
Oh yeah, there you go. Yeah, just add a sled underneath him, and then you don't need to animate anything. Yeah. Well, we're going to take a quick detour from Paradox really quick to talk about the final culture that has been announced for the industrial era in humankind, which I think the reaction most of us had to this was, I don't know why I didn't think of this.
I'm sure we did mention it like 2 weeks ago.
Did we?
I don't think we did.
I mean, I mentioned Ethiopia because we were thinking, there isn't an African one yet. But
I think we mentioned Ethiopia. We mentioned Egypt. We totally missed the other end of the alphabet with Zulu.
Yeah, so it's the Zulu, which they are very much important to this era. It's just, Western bias. I did not think of them when I was thinking of industrial civilizations because they didn't really practice heavy industry, but they did give industrial nations a run for their money in warfare. So, a
great name in Scrabble too, when you always have too many Zs.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Every time.
They get their Impy, which I think is generally their unique unit in most other 4X games where you can play as the Zulu. And then they get a Warrior Lodge. They're militarists, pretty straightforward, what you'd expect. I forget, did we get a North American native culture for this era?
I don't think so.
Not for this subculture, I don't think.
I think that might be the only. That might be the continents that are missing are the Americas for the industrial era.
We got Mexicans, but not native.
Yeah, we've got the Mexicans.
It's the Spanish Mexicans.
Yeah.
So we'll get one. No, we shouldn't actually get any more. This does not have the Zulu in there. We've had in 10. Austro-Hungarians, British, French, Germans, Italians, Mexicans, Persians, Russians, Siamese, and Zulu, which I just noticed they gave up to us in alphabetical order.
Oh, yeah.
I only just realized that as well.
Yeah,
that's a good clue when we're guessing like the next one, right?
So, yeah. All right. So, Brazil first. Oh, no. Depends. Will they go with America or USA?
Well, here's what I think. Here's what I think, because by this time next week, they'll have announced the first culture for the final era. So what I think each of the four of us should do, just like with our Victoria 3 predictions, don't discuss it between ourselves, but try to come up with the 10 cultures that you think will be in the contemporary era in humankind. We'll reveal them next week, and then we can score and see who got the most right. So
sounds good.
Yeah, just come up with what do you think all 10 of them are going to be, and then we'll see who gets the most of them. I figure we'll have some overlap, but yeah.
What does the winner get?
I don't know. What was the prize going to be for guessing the Victoria 3 release date, which I think we're all wrong at this point.
Yeah, I think
for the announcement date, it was
off.
I need to go re-listen to the first episode. Yeah, I think all of our predictions are past by now, so technically
no.
I don't think they're past, but
are they?
No, I think somebody was 2022.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. We'd have to go watch the first episode again.
Okay. Yeah, maybe mine was 2021. I don't remember. Anyway, yeah, so we know all of the industrial cultures for humankind. The Shaka Zulu was a successful leader in part because he was able to train all of these disparate tribes into a professional army with good drill and discipline. Similar to what we're going to be able to do in Imperator Rome soon with the legions that were hinted at last week. For once, I'm actually attempting to do transitions this time.
Oh wow!
Before we go to this though, I've just found the Victoria 3 announcement predictions. Nobody has yet been overtaken by the dates that they chose. Yeah. Wait, no, I take that
Mine's
back.
gone. Okay.
Rose, you've lost. Yeah, you're 1 month past.
I knew Rose was the earliest. Yeah, but I couldn't remember what they were.
I've got 20th of June 2021. Leanna, you have the 7th of August, 2021.
That's right. Okay.
And the one who's going to win this, even if Victoria 3 is never announced until 2050, is Father Loris, who's got the 1st of January 2025.
No, we need to bring a theoretical mathematician in here to say, like, if Victoria 3 never happens, does that technically mean Loris won? Because he's closer to infinity by a marginal amount.
Checks out to me.
As is being pointed out in chat, I did not take the pandemic into account.
Neither did any of us.
That's true. That's true.
I did, actually. That was all part of my calculation.
Loris
The biologist here.
Yeah. I had insider tips.
Loris knew
from
that
the time I worked as a scientist. It's my only qualification. The secret lab that the conspiracy theorists were talking about, they got in touch with me.
Yeah, the underground James Bond villain volcano base where they manufactured the virus.
We heard you had a master's in genetics. We thought you let you know about this.
Yeah. All the times that you said you fell asleep by the fire, it was actually that you were doing secret research on
biological weapons.
Yeah.
That wouldn't surprise me. What about when he's chasing the horse?
No, that was actually true.
Yeah. It escaped from the lab. So
yeah. Yeah, anyway, so Legions in Imperator. Definitely a different system than Retinues in CK2, which we kind of compared them to last week. I have a feeling that the same people that were really, really upset about not having 2 consoles at launch are not going to maybe like the system because you only have 1 Legion per governorship, it seems like.
Yeah, it does look that. Although you can split it in half if you like.
Oh, okay. So yeah, it's going to be sort of severely limited how many you can have, even at the upper end, I guess. Lambert, what did you think of this system?
Oh, I don't know. I didn't read it. I'm joking, of course. I love it. No, I love it. I think it's especially the honors and dishonors system. I think there's a lot of flavor that you can have with that. I think with Imperator, when you're coming to do role play and you feel like you want a more role play centric kind of game, you get out what you put into it. Like if you put effort into the role play when playing Imperator, you get back, quite a lot of enjoyment out of that. And I think this is just really going to apply more of that kind of system to the game. Like especially getting your legions to have a history where you can read through a list and see what battles your legion took place in and where they sieged some important city, and just being able to scroll through that list and just have a look at all the different things that they've done, I think is really cool. The one thing I really hope is going to be possible is being able to rename them, because especially the example that they've given here, the Lower Egypt Legion, just really doesn't do anything for me.
I would imagine they'll have to let us rename that. Like, how could they not let us rename our legions?
Actually, having looked, I made a big point of wanting to rename them when I made my video on this, and I've just realized that in the screenshot, they're looking at the Lower Egypt Legion, and in the outliner it says Aegyptiacos Stratus. So even if it's not renamable, it's still not called Lower Egypt Army. So
that's good.
That's okay. But still, I think being able to rename them really adds a lot. Like the example that I used in my video was when I was playing as Rome, and I had one army. Sorry, I had 2 very depleted armies that really couldn't fight on their own. I would either have to add more units to it or something to get them back up to what I prefer in my armies. But instead, I merged them together to make one legion. And then I named that one legion something like Fortuitous Twins or something like that, just to kind of give it the idea that this was 2 armies that merged into one, and now they're fighting together. So it's got a name that's sort of based on their history, and that adds a lot Like you can play another 100 years, have a look at the army, see the name, like, oh, I know exactly where that army came from. And it adds a lot if you just put a little bit of effort in.
Yeah, I think Imperator and Stellaris have that in common, where like the amount you get out of the game is very much based on how much you want to throw yourself into the role play of it.
Yeah.
But the other thing I'm really excited about with these changes is the fact that military reforms are actually going to matter in terms of creating your Julius Caesar scenarios. I feel like in the current version of Imperator, like it's supposed to be able to model the crisis of the late Republic, but it's just not a lot of conditions need to be met for you to have a crisis of the late Republic. And this seems like it's going to put it more better in its context. You're not just going to have random governors that are like, in 200 years before the historical birth of Julius Caesar that are just like doing Julius Caesar stuff when you haven't even passed the land bills or army reforms that led to that situation in actual history. It sounds like it's going to be more restricted to, you are going to have to choose to organize your armies this way before somebody can exploit that system to come to power the way that Caesar and later Augustus did, which I like. So
it definitely seems like there's a more of a progression, which I think is definitely a good thing.
Right. Because like you have Marian reforms in the current version of the game, and like I think they increased the chances that a cohort will become loyal or something like that. But like you get so many loyal cohorts anyway, even without any army reforms, that it's just like you can have disloyal generals trying to pull shenanigans all the time.
And the other thing about loyal cohorts are they cost less because the general pays half their salary, and they fight more because they fight better because they get extra discipline. So if you can manage the trade-off of this guy might be a bit more powerful, then having a loyal legionary or a loyal cohort is just objectively a better thing.
Yeah. And then also they're adding a system of legates and tribunes, which seems like a clever way to get around the problem of splitting armies that are assigned permanently to a general. You can have these tribunes now that will automatically take command if you need to split the army up, which I also really like.
I really want them to go a little bit further with this legates and tribune system. I would love it if you had your main general and he would take the center of your army. Then you'd have two tribunes who would take each wing, and then maybe have one extra one who's like the second in command who, commands the center with you, and then have a sort of flank system like we had with CK2. I'd really like to see something like that because that's kind of how armies fought back then. There's lots of, center, right flank, left flank. And then maybe if you're a Greek culture and you put a commander in charge of the right flank, you'll get a massive boost to his prominence and popularity because that was the place you wanted to be. That was their prestigious place in the army is on the right flank. It's where Alexander fought when he was fighting underneath Philip II. That is the pride of place. It would be awesome to have just that kind of little bit of extra on there.
That's so interesting.
I'd love it.
It's a weird thing, but a right flank was the prestigious place. You would have thought it'd be the center or something, but like it's a weird one. Why
I don't know why.
It
just
flank?
Is. Yeah.
I don't know. Yeah.
Stick all the losers on the left flank. Cool kids on the right flank.
Anything that creates more tension with like squabbling generals who are mad that they didn't get the post that their rival got, I think will make this game tremendously better. So yeah, I would be all for that.
We need some more stuff to take apart your empire from the inside after it's become a giant empire.
Right. And
hold on. If the right flank was the place where you put all your best people, right? Surely every single battle would just be sort of very twisty, So there's one flank, say the right flank would be up against the enemy's left flank, and the left flank's where all the duffers are, The left flank will crumble instantly, but their left flank will crumble instantly. It'll just be a circle.
We have a question from Chad here, guys. They're asking when Matt is coming, but Akbade's replied that Matt is already here. He's just a ninja.
I'm just stealthing whilst people that know more about this patch and dev diary speak about it.
I do have a tendency to ramble about Imperator sometimes. I apologize.
Yeah. The CK2 talk is going to be like the back half of the show since it's our main topic.
We're going to go back and talk about that.
God, you're just as bad as the Game Awards putting CK2 artwork.
Oh, yeah.
Throwback Wednesday.
I commented on that in the 3 Moves Ahead Discord when they posted the Game Awards nominees. I posted pushes up glasses. Sir or madam, that box art is from Crusader Kings 2 Holy Fury, which is an expansion to the previous game. Crusader Kings 3 has a more saturated art style that uses a lot of medium shots focusing on smaller numbers of characters. Please correct this mistake immediately.
My favorite part is watching all of the people in marketing from Paradox on Twitter retweeting it, being like, wrong art, but please vote for us anyway.
Yeah. I mean, it is a cool image. The Holy Fury box art is a very cool image.
Yeah, I'd say it is probably one of my favorites. Well.
Yeah.
I have that too. It's still in a poster tube though.
It is leaning against the back of my sofa because I don't want to put nails into my apartment because I don't own it.
That's fair. Mine's there because I'm lazy.
See, to be fair, that would be my excuse if I did own it.
Yeah, because I do own my house, and that's like I could just totally put a nail in the wall. I'm just lazy. I got no excuses.
Yeah, mine's like a building site at the moment, so it would just be a building site with posters on if I put mine up.
Yeah, that's a replacement for wallpaper.
I mean, in this apartment, I didn't even want to drill holes to put the blackout curtains up in our room, so we have like these sticky hooks.
Oh god.
And the curtains are actually going to get hung on real rods when we move, but for now it looks so tacky, and it's been that way for 2.5 years.
That's the danger, isn't it? You put something up temporary and then suddenly it's permanent. I've got the same. I've got these temporary blinds that have been up for roughly 6 months.
Nothing is more permanent than a temporary fix.
That's right, yeah.
Look, the fix is the bit that is important. And as long as your temporary fix is a fix, it might as well stay there.
It's not such a temporary fix, or the changes they're making in EU4.
Thank you. I was fishing for a transition there.
Beautiful segue.
I got distracted by chat. So we are getting new missions for the North American natives in EU4 to complement the updates to totemism that we heard about last week. So it really looks like this is going to be a more full-featured update to this area than we even anticipated originally, which, I'm very excited about. Still one of my favorite regions. They've broken it up into a few different areas. The Eastern Woodlands tribes are going to have sort of missions that allow them to play tall. The Southwest seems like they get a lot of production bonuses. They can farm yucca palm trees and mine turquoise and things like that. And then the Iroquois culture group, which I guess is a new culture group that they've introduced, it sounds like, gets a lot of like diplomatic and spy type bonuses. Were there any of these in particular that sounded especially interesting to any of you guys?
Which one does the Iroquois have?
They're the ones, so they get, basically they have like a special building they can build that gives you a theologian advisor. They get some spy power and detection bonuses, and then basically stuff to help you defend the eastern coast against settlers. So
I think the interesting part there is being able to influence what kind of advisor you're getting. That's not something we've seen before.
Yeah. That's
something I really want. Like, for everybody. It makes no sense that I'm randomly firing people just so that the right advisor with the right set of skills comes along. Like, I need an inquisitor. Get me an inquisitor. I was like, random taxman comes along. No, not you. Go away.
I think especially for like China, with meritocracy mechanics, you end up, the imperial bureaucracy was very efficient at getting the people they wanted into the imperial court. And it does feel kind of weird when you're like cycling through firing and hiring people when, it was a good selection.
It's like you're playing Uno and you just keep drawing a card until you find the one that you want, the one you can play. It's not exactly the most fun
if you
part
could
of the
draw
game.
4, that would be nice.
The classic.
Yeah, I feel like
how many times do I need to reroll to get a commandant? The common struggle.
Yeah,
and
exactly.
there's no need for them to be named or aged. It's a part of the game. Like, if you're going to add people like characters that, do stuff like in advisor roles, you may as well just like add characters in general, like another game that I know. This is not a segue, by the way. It's just something I've always wanted for you for. If it was a segue, it'd be the perfect segue. It's practice for the next time.
I mean, is any segue ever perfect? I mean, they've got those weird 2 wheels, and why do that when you can just walk?
I mean,
never been on one.
Segways are a very confusing mode of transportation.
Are they even a thing anymore? Like, I think they've been supplanted by Heelys, right, which are objectively better in every way.
And those scooters, like those green scooters or whatever.
Oh, a lift.
Are Heelys really making a renaissance?
Oh, it should be. I've got my pair on right now.
Oh,
By the way,
God.
I'm heeling around as we speak with my headset on.
The green scooters that they just like drop off in the middle of like major cities and stuff. Last time I was in Stockholm, they told me they had to keep sending divers down because people were just like throwing them into the Malaran. Is that still going on?
Yeah, the limes and the voids and stuff. God, I hate
Yeah.
them. I mean, they're somewhat convenient, but yeah, they're just like people just yeet them into the ocean. I'm like, why would you do this? Or like, they just like leave them on the street, fallen over, battered and broken. I'm like, this is such an inconvenience.
I was like converted onto them at ParadoxCon in Berlin. It was like, I was so skeptical about it when we were going around as a group, but it was like, no, generally we're very good. And I had to go on one, and I've been converted. I love them now. Scooting along in the city.
I think
you can never get them in Wales because it's all hills, and those things will never go up the street.
I can't
in Wales.
imagine trying to take one of them up a hill in Wales. That'd be a nightmare.
My
really biggest fear with them, though, is that I like bugger up and fall off them in the middle of the street. That's why I refuse to use them. I'm like I could not take that social shame.
Just do a combat roll afterwards and then like stand up with your arms.
Yeah, there you go.
Stand up, take a bow.
Are they powered?
Yeah, that's right.
Yeah, they're electric powered. Yeah.
I haven't seen any in a while. I think they are actually banned in Denver now. I haven't seen one in a long time. But,
yeah, a lot of cities started wanting to ban them because people were just breaking them and they weren't very efficient. I saw that you can buy them. Like, you can just buy your own scooter from them, I think.
I kind of want one.
Yeah. Well, we also have another dev diary about moving people around. I don't know if we're going to be using scooters for it. But
should be.
I mean,
Space
we could spaceship scooters.
Space scooters. Yeah.
Gotta say, that was the smoothest segue we've had all day.
There we go. Thank you.
Moving people around. You segued from a tangent. That's skill.
I'm normally very bad.
Segued from a tangent about segways.
Oh yeah. See, I'm learning.
Segue section.
Yes. So a couple big updates coming to Stellaris. One of them is that they're making big changes to the AI around automated colony management. I actually haven't loaded up the test branch to try this out yet. But from what it sounds like, it's going to be a lot more of a safe bet to leave some of your colonies in the hands of the AI. They are going to be a little bit more financially conservative from the sounds of it in terms of like when they think it's safe to spend a bunch of money. But they actually showed some of the scripts too, that like how they make decisions, which I always like when that stuff is transparent like that, so you can actually kind of see, oh, okay, this is exactly what the AI is going to do based on, you know, these different factors.
And I mean, honestly, I would prefer the AI to be a little more conservative with resources than the opposite, because, you know, I could see them ruining the economy if they're not conservative.
Yeah, well, like, or back in the day when you would just like dump a bunch of resources into a sector and be like, where did all this money go? Oh, there's like 11 construction ships flying around or something. Like, I don't know what you guys were going for here.
God, I forgot when they built their own construction ships and stuff.
Yeah, that was like,
so
there was
early.
That was a long time. That was like back before the border change, even like back when we used to have the.
Back in
that was
my
what I
day
decided to
when
never
we had
use them.
tiles.
Yeah,
I mean, we all recall that, but like we all like the changes now.
Oh yeah.
Yes.
There is
It's
no
just-
controversy whatsoever about this change that is, what, like 2 years old by now?
No,
Yeah,
it's not.
well,
I forgot
0%.
they used to do that.
I know one or two people who still say they miss tiles, and I'm just like, all right, you do you. Like, yeah. But the change I'm actually more excited about is this resettlement change where they're actually adding new, I believe it's a spaceport building that can allow unemployed pops to resettle to other worlds in your empire without you having to manually move them. Which, you know, previously there were certain government types that just couldn't even do that.
Yeah.
So now we can at least set up, you know, immigration spaceports to, you know, be like, hey, you know, we have other planets, right, that have jobs. Like maybe, I mean, I'm not going to make you do it, but maybe it would make sense for you if you wanted to move. I guess the immigration system already sort of modeled that, but like pops that were already there and already unemployed would never go away unless they went into decline. So, yeah, I really like that change a lot.
Same.
I think you have to have the building in the destination and the source system, but then they can move to any planet that has that spaceport building in their system.
So like a bunch of the hubs, what are they called now? Orbital habitats. They'll move around them just fine.
Yeah, that's honestly like a big like stealth buff to Voidborn, I think.
Yes. So much.
Yeah, because man, yeah, your capital habitat just gets so overcrowded by the late game.
Yeah. It's just a great boon to any sort of high pop growth things like hive minds. Brilliant.
Oh yeah.
Especially with Thrall Worlds, slapping one of these on top of a Thrall World, it would just be, you know, so much nicer because you don't have to ship your slaves off to some godforsaken planet. You can do it all automatically now.
Another
automate our space slavery.
Exactly. Yeah. Streamlined.
Yeah.
Another one of the changes that I really like as well is just putting all the unemployed pops at the top of the resettlement tab.
Yes.
It makes it so much nicer. And also colouring it in.
Yeah, they're red. That's oof. Especially if you're going to be playing a Necroid.
Yes,
Yeah,
I was just thinking about how good this would be for Necroids.
I've moved my pops around in Necroids all the bloody time. This would be amazing for it. And especially when you think about the change as well to buildings, that they're not unlocked by pop numbers anymore. So we're going to be able to move as many pops as we want and not just like run into a wall where it's like, oh, if you move this unemployed pop that also doesn't have a house and nowhere to work and nothing, he can do nothing. But if you move him, this building that he wasn't anything to do with is going to fall down to the ground. That's not going to happen anymore, which you know I'm totally in favor of.
That is that is a what the patch notes actually mean situation right there. If you've ever heard one. Like, yeah, we don't
use the unemployed as bricks.
Yeah, we don't have enough bums, so this entire alloy factory needs to shut down.
We use the corpses of the unemployed to fire the furnaces.
We're gonna mothball it.
Yeah, it's not even just gonna stop working. Like it's just gonna fall into disrepair because there just need to be more people with a bag full of whiskey loitering around outside, or it's just not going to function properly.
That would have made such a great comic. And, oh my god! Now I'm gutted. But it's
Feel free.
Go,
I don't need royalties. I just want to see it.
I can because it's not going to be in the game anymore.
The comic.
Quick! The update isn't out yet. You've still got time.
It's relevant for like a
start
little
drawing
while.
right now. Start drawing right now. Really good changes. I'll be curious to see how it. Again, I mention this every time we talk about Stellaris at this point. I'll be curious to see how it affects late game performance. I've heard some good things. This is an update. I haven't really dived into Necroids yet, and I think with 2.8.1, it's going to be another one of those patches where I'm like, all right, I'm gonna really, really dive into Stellaris and see what's up now. So, So that will bring us on to our main topic for this week, and
Which
the main
is-
reason Matthew is here.
Bunch of bits and bobs.
Yeah. So this week's Crusader Kings 3 Dev Diary, Rager showed us off several little changes that are very cool, including they're bringing back the kill list where you can see everybody your characters have killed. We're getting an attached to army button. Unfortunately, it's the opposite of what I actually was asking for, which was a button to get the AI to attach to your army. This just allows you to attach to the AI army.
But on that note, and the CK Twitter account commented on it as well, the AI does seem much better about following you around as long as they're not involved in their own war.
Yeah,
They do.
If you're like the primary attacker or defender, the AI will try and help you out if they're not busy. And also, I think your dreams of being able to order around the AI will be met by a staunch battle against Meneth, who will cut you down.
So here's the thing. Have you heard of elevator buttons? You know, the buttons you press on an elevator. And I tell you what, the same is true with like traffic lights. Often what they do is if it's a particularly bright, they just light up and they don't actually do anything. If it was a button you could press and say, please follow me AI, and it just lit up and did absolutely nothing beyond the scenes, I'd be happy.
Don't tempt me. Don't tempt me.
So, before we continue with this dev diary, we did have a question in chat about the ruler designer. I know comes out the 24th, and I missed the stream earlier. Was it announced when 1.2 will come out?
The same day.
time.
I think it's the same
patch
day.
contains the ruler designer and all of the bits and bobs from the dev diary as well.
Alright, that's just what I wanted to confirm.
Sweet. And I also think did you guys announce was it this week or last week that CK3 sold over 1 million units in its first month or something like that?
I think that was this week with the quarterly report they put out, which was
which is
pretty big number.
insane.
We definitely wasn't expecting to wake up and see that when I went to the office.
Yeah, like back when I was playing, Crusader Kings 2 and like hardly anyone knew about it yet. I never thought that like I would see the words like Crusader Kings and 1 million copies. Yeah, that's
You're mainstream now.
I know. We have to like change topics for the podcast because that's just not hipster enough anymore.
Yeah.
Speaking of 1 million people, we've also got a kill list.
Right.
We're
I'm sorry.
So here's
are you
I
trying
think
to
we
get
should
1 million kills on yours?
Yeah, we need to create a new, like, I guess it wouldn't be a speed run, but we should create a leaderboard to see who can get the most kills on a single character in a single lifetime in Iron Man. Like that should be like that should be a thing.
I will say though, there's one thing that I think is missing from this kill list. And just an accumulated number of all of the random plebs that you kill in battle. Because every character, when you look in the battle information screen, it's like, oh, this guy killed 64, men-at-arms and levies and stuff. I want it to count that as well. I want to see that my Ube has killed untold thousands of people and a few characters as well.
Yeah,
that would be nice. Just
that
a
would be
number.
cool. That'd be cool if they could keep track of that. Yeah, for sure. The other thing, another. Oh, go for it.
That would be pretty fun just to see that your knight has killed more people than your realm has people.
Yeah. One of the devs agrees with me. Yay, it's in. Confirmed. Yeah, no, I'd love that.
It's quite that easy though, Lambert. Sure.
Yeah, this is not how game development actually works, but it's my fantasy. So
the number is there. I don't know how much work it would be to actually add it to a ledger or something, but
I mean, probably not a massive. It's just that I imagine we don't store the number once the UI pop-up goes away.
Oh, okay, yeah. There's
you could all start.
Like that lovely multiplayer chat mod that Agamade made, where he makes and kills an infant every time you send a chat message.
It's so cursed. It's such a cursed use of the scripting system. I love it.
Then give us a real multiplayer chat.
Agamade is like the absolute warlock of Paradox mods. He takes all of the dark powers to make the things that he does. It's insane. I love it.
We saw that mod and I was like, how are they not out of syncing instantly? What are they doing? They're like, our game director was like, maybe they're renaming titles of characters, and like, oh, they are great. Just killing hundreds of children just to send your little messages. Beautiful.
And we need to track it in the kill list.
Yeah. It's sort of, I mean, it's clever. It's clever. Like a lot of the UI mods I for like various MMOs do like similar weird stuff where they're just like finding places to put data that like wouldn't normally be used to store data at all. And yeah, I love stuff like that. I also love that we're going to be able to get hooks on our realm priests now to make them endorse us if they're being assholes.
Which makes sense.
Oh yeah, that was one of my pet peeves. I'm glad I got fixed because I was like, I own you. You are mine. I own your life. Why won't you give me the money and troops I deserve?
Although this guy, seven learning skill, I'd rather just assassinate him. Like that's just a bummer. Anytime I get a realm priest with like less than 10 learning, I'm like, yeah, this guy's got to go.
In one of my recent runs, I had a realm priest with 2 learning. I was like, oh, okay, I'll just assassinate you. Oh, you've got 27 intrigue. All right then. Why are you?
Why did you go into the church? Like,
there's a reason he got.
There's a reason he got
promoted to bishop very quickly.
There's a reason he's gotten so high up in the church.
Oh, you're going for Pope then, gotcha.
Yeah, he's going full Borgia.
he's gonna assassinate every single other member of the Council of Cardinals until he gets to become Pope.
Yeah, so I had that guy for about 50 years, and I was trying to convert. At the same time, it wasn't going well. He wasn't very good at converting the land.
Yeah, no, I like half the time I end up like creating a new heresy. It's just because I'm so irritated that I cannot get rid of these like scrub like negative 500 IQ realm priests who are just making it so hard for me to get claims.
My longest game was over in India, playing as the Kingdom of Pagan. And it was wonderful. I kept getting these guru dudes with like 20 learning. And I didn't even have to convert anything. I was just chilling.
Yeah, see, that's the dream, you know. But yeah, so sometimes if your faith won't let you fire them the traditional way, you just have to fire them
from the mortal plane.
Yeah.
From life.
We do have this sacred in chats asking if it would be nice to be able to see who's next in line to become the archbishop, or at least who your other potential archbishops are.
I would imagine, and again, I know Matthew can't comment on this, I would imagine that we will probably get a DLC or a patch at some point in the future that expands on like investiture mechanics. You know, that seems like a logical place to expand the game for me.
And speaking of, this is not something that we can comment on, of course, but playing CK3, recording some earlier today, and my character died of the bubonic plague. he was the only person in our entire court to even catch the bubonic plague. And it said, oh, thanks, the bubonic plague is over. And then I played with his brother. And then I found out his sister also died of bubonic plague in a different court, and no one else caught it in that court either. Which, if this was CK2, I'd blame the Devil Society. But...
I mean, maybe
See, that's what you don't realize. The Devil Society is, in fact, in CK3. It's all the things that don't actually make sense. It's just them.
Nobody's found it yet, but yeah.
Explanation for any bug report.
Yeah.
It's just Lucifer's Own. It's hard coded, and you never actually get to see what they're doing, but they're just working behind the scenes. Yeah. Someday someone will like figure out how to decompile the game, and we'll find out that they've just been toying with us all along.
Oh, I hope not. They'll have to see my crappy code then. Nobody deserves that. Meneth has to deal with enough of it when we do code reviews. I don't think anyone else in the land needs to see it.
Matthew,
it's all just commented out ASCII art. That's all it is. That's all it is.
Matthew, you may not be able to answer this question, and tell me if you can't. But is it intentional? Because there's two cosmetic DLC out for people who bought the Emperor version and the people who pre-ordered. You can't share save files currently if people don't have the cosmetic DLC.
Yes. So I mean, it is working as like intended in the sense that it's meant to do that, but it is something that we do want to change because, as you say, it's kind of annoying. It's just that our checksumming system is not very smart for some DLCs of knowing if they're graphical only or not, and whether they should actually be important.
Because it didn't do that on 1.0. I was doing a Succession game, and we were sharing the file back and forth, and someone had pre-ordered it and had the HRE one. And
yeah, I'm not sure why. I remember there was some reason that we added the flag onto it, but I think it's because the checksumming system conflates like changes things in multiplayer and stuff like visually versus like actually changes the game. But it's definitely something we do want to look at because, as you say, it's annoying. And the more and more, like if we ever do like a portrait pack or a music pack or whatever, like down the line, it's going to be incredibly annoying if that means you can't load up someone else's save.
Yeah, because these are even just clothing packs.
Yep.
Right. Yeah.
All right. Well, speaking of other cosmetic things, we did get new tribal holding variants, which are very pretty.
I like this a lot. I like anything that just adds more visual variety and like regional variety to the map.
Yep.
Big thumbs up for me. It looks like a small thing, but this will make a big difference, I think, for me in terms of playing different areas and just getting to see different buildings that actually look like, they should.
I also really appreciate how shitty the walls look for tribes. Something about that is something I like. The idea of a bunch of gears and they've just put sticks on the outside of the gears in a little circle. It's very good.
Yeah.
They certainly don't stack up to Kjotve's walls in Assassin's Creed Valhalla.
Shutve. You don't pronounce the E like an A.
Oh, I know. I'm taking the piss out of the game.
30 times.
I'm taking the piss out of the game for it.
Yeah, Shutve's fortress in AC Valhalla is very advanced.
Fortified. Yeah.
For an early medieval Scandinavian burg. Well,
we know the reason. Aliens.
Oh, well, yeah, that's true. There are aliens in Assassin's Creed.
Yeah, I was thinking like aliens, time travel, they'll do one of them.
There's aliens in it as well. Oh, fuck it. I don't care.
Well, okay, technically they're not aliens. They are a race that existed on Earth before humans evolved.
Oh my god.
I mean, this is... I'm going back to this is like Assassin's Creed 2, you find this out. So this is not new information. This is not a spoiler.
To be fair, it gets a lot more crazy after Assassin's Creed 2.
Yeah.
It gets worse than that. It gets worse than ancient aliens.
Oh yes, because actually it turns out that those ancient aliens in like Odyssey and stuff are like literally the gods of the Greek world.
Oh my fucking god.
Well, yeah, we knew that. We knew that in AC2.
Like Hades and stuff. It's lit. It's great.
It's a mythology
storytelling.
It's a mythology game at this point. It's not a history game. So,
Alfie absolutely nailed it in chat. It's a bad Dan Brown novel. Yeah, pretty much, 100%. Oh my god!
I hate Assassin's Creed.
I mean, you repeat yourself. I think a bad Dan novel is a Dan Brown novel. I'm pretty sure.
Do you know we don't hate,
I was well into Da Vinci Code when it came out. I love that shit.
Oh my god, but writing is so bad in it.
I didn't know back
somebody
then.
who's severely dyslexic.
but I like the conspiracy theory stuff up until AC3 is kind of when it went off the rails, I think. But
yeah,
like I loved finding like the weird where you'd have to like put together the pieces of a Renaissance painting and it would give you some little clue, like you'd get 5 more seconds of footage.
That stuff was great.
Yeah,
that was
like
amazing. It was
who
like
are these weird people running up a tower?
Theory stuff.
Yeah, like I love all that. Like I don't believe in any of it in real life, but in a game, like the like Illuminati pyramid eye on the dollar bill, what does it all really mean?
Oh
like
I want to do an Assassin's Creed hot take podcast.
Yeah.
My hot take then is the most disappointing gaming experience of my teenage years. Is my hot take on Assassin's Creed.
Oh man, I don't think I even got into Assassin's Creed till college because Revelations was already out, and I bought AC1, 2, and Brotherhood were on Steam sale for like $20 or something, and I played all 3 of them in a row. So yeah, that must have been like 2009, 2010.
I mean, there's only like 4 Assassin's Creed games you need to actually play.
No. You don't. There's none. You don't need to play any of them because they're all terrible.
There's little side
terrible games.
Yeah, that's all the issue with them are the future portions. So just take out the future portions, give him the historical era, and he'd be happy.
Yeah, the part that's really disappointing for me, like, or always will be, is that before Assassin's Creed 1 came out, the whole future crap was entirely secretive. Like, there was no promotional material saying, oh yeah, this is basically a future game. You're not actually a badass parkour assassin. You're actually just some dickhead in a machine. Jade Raymond hinted at it like before the first game came out. She was like, oh, and there's a shocking sci-fi twist that you'll need to see to believe. But yeah, they didn't make a big deal out of it, really.
And you saw it and you were like, cool, don't believe it.
Oh, yeah,
I don't believe you've done this.
You have ruined your game, and then you doubled down. You doubled down, you fools.
Yeah.
Do you know what game hasn't been ruined though? This
what game would that be?
Changed the dynasty tree here in CK3.
Yeah. It's
with the true ruler of England.
The UI keeps getting better. Which is awesome. Yeah, the Dynasty UI, you can actually see what legacies you have without having to open the legacy tree, which is really cool now.
Yeah.
They've made some changes to the battle UI, so it's a little bit better organized and less cluttered looking.
It looks taller than it used to be.
It does look a little bit taller. I don't know if it actually is or not.
Showing off that lovely embroidered texture in the back. Lovely little embroidered.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
Very nice.
Uh-huh.
Yeah, our artists and UX designers definitely went above to clear up a lot of these things. It's
my god,
really nice.
They did such a wonderful job. I love it. That was one of the things that I thought CK3 really needed is more old-fashioned, churchy, like medieval flares in the UI, especially look at the sort of gothic design around this battle UI. It's gorgeous. The little swords, like the little flares. It's great. If a UI looks like it could have, flying buttresses, yeah, that's a good UI for CK3 as far as I'm concerned. It looks gorgeous.
It has depth and life to it.
Yeah, it does. It really immerses you in the medieval world. It's grim and gothic.
I mean, to show how immersed you are, we actually get this lovely mantling for whatever flag you have.
Yeah.
Yeah, I know that's going to be really useful in my current multiplayer game because we're playing in tribal border gore West Africa, and we just keep being like, oh, I just declared war on some. Oh, was that you? Oh, I'm sorry. I didn't realize that was you.
Like, your flag changed. Yeah, I ranked up. I'm now a king. Well, I didn't know that.
Well, it's like one of us started as one of the four of us started as what Daura, the recommended character. I forget her first name.
Daramadara.
Daramadara, yeah, and like her whole dynastic situation, like especially it's a somewhat less experienced player who is playing her, and it's like it just turned into a giant gavel kind mess very quickly. Like, because like she has some kids that could inherit under her dynasty and some that couldn't, and then they had a bunch of kids, and then like some of those branches of the other branch of the family that was under her husband's dynasty were dying out and passing stuff onto her somehow, and it was very hard to keep track of for a little while there. But yeah, that'll be very nice just to be able to see very quickly who is a player and who is not just by looking at the map. And then rally point improvements, which is like still my biggest gripe about CK3 right now. If you only have one rally point, it will try to raise armies in the general area that will not exceed the supply limit of the barony that they are standing in, which is very good.
Though with rally points, I think Lambert at least still has a complaint about them.
Oh yeah, it's if you go very heavy on your men-at-arms, just being able to teleport your people just wherever they need to be it makes it too easy, and it's hard to not do it.
Yeah,
I still really don't like
I know
that.
That's a bit of feedback we've definitely heard. I'm not sure if we're going to change it in the future, but I definitely see that one of the teleporting men-at-arms can get a little crazy.
Yeah, it's I don't know if I mean, I'm sure if there was an easy solution, you guys would have just done it by now. So there probably isn't a solution that'll satisfy everyone, but I hope that it's a feature that continues to be looked at and iterated on.
I think just you can't raise for X months would go a long way.
I imagine it will get a look at in the future because, as you say, it's like the rally points is pretty much like the core of starting and continuing battles. So the nicer it is to use and the more sense it makes, sort of the better for the overall experience.
Especially when you can see, oh, this guy is trapped now walking onto this mountain. He's gone over half distance. Let me just disband my army that's over here and raise it here a day before he arrives. And oh, now I'm the defender in the mountains. The mountain has grown men-at-arms.
Maybe, I don't know. Maybe if there was a way to do a separate rally point for your men-at-arms that like you can't just move it whenever you want to. I don't know. I've proposed like a bunch of different solutions for this, probably 90% of which wouldn't work. But...
Yeah. That's the case though. We're ideas guys, right? Ideas people. We're not like Cody people.
Grammars.
There's very like anytime I'm making suggestions for Imperator as well, I was like, I'm an ideas guy. I don't know how to code. I don't know if this would actually work. This is just what I'd like in my head. It's the same sort of system.
Meta says that they have some ideas, but it's not for 1.2.
Oh yeah. I didn't expect anything for.
I would be a terrible. I would
pretty much locked down.
I would be a terrible game designer because I would just be kicking the door down to like the programming department and be like, all right, make it do this. They're like, that's not actually possible. And I'd be like, just do it. No.
I mean, if you add in a few more Google Docs, you're not that far off.
So, I never learned to code, so I can't speak for the efficacy of my like just off the top of my head solutions.
Anyone who's seen my website knows how bad my coding is. That's,
Hey, if
well,
it
you know,
works,
it
works.
You can create your own beautiful, fully featured website with no coding knowledge. Thanks to our sponsor. No, I'm
we need Skillshare on the job. Come on, we need a sponsor. And we'll shill the crap out of you. Come on.
Yeah, no, we will actively solicit sponsors if you want to sponsor this podcast.
Yeah, what's it called? What's that bloody shaving company that's on every single
Dollar Shave Club?
Yeah,
Shave Club. I don't want to hear about those fucking people about their German factory. I don't give a shit about their German factory.
Well, we did have last week's sponsor freemoney.ru. So hopefully all of you went on and were able to download your free money. I got mine in as little as 30 days. So
yeah. Go to freemoney.ru/NoCB cast. You have some podcast time.
You get a discount on your free money.
Enter the promo code NoCB and be sure to click yes when Windows asks if you want to run the executable.
Or make sure to turn off your antivirus software because there's just a false positive on that. I wouldn't worry about it.
Yeah.
What even is a keylogger anyway?
Do you want free money or not? Like, come on. Do you hate free money? Is that what you're telling me? You know where you could really use some free money though, because it's not a very well developed region at the start of the game, is northern Siberia, which now has its own separate religion, separate from Suomenosko, which they have renamed to Ukonnusko because it was not just the Finns that practiced it. So we have kind of an Eastern Finno-Ugric and a Western Finno-Ugric faith now. That's going to be adding a little bit more variety. Let me see. They get ancestor worship, ritual celebrations, sanctity of nature. Hunter is a virtue, which I actually think would work for either one. Honestly, that could apply to the Finnish pagans too.
Yeah.
And their other virtues are brave, generous, and temperate. And then their vices are greedy, craven, and vengeful.
Well, I mean, on the map, it looks like Finland still is Ukonnusko.
Yeah. Right. So,
Matt, can you tell us any more about this decision to change it, or?
I mean, if I knew anything, I could, but I honestly, the content designers and the designers split that up. All I know is that it's fun because we now have 100 faiths, I think.
Oh,
nice. From 99, we finally hit 100, I think.
That's awesome.
I tried doing some research on this before the podcast because I thought, a new religion, I'll learn about it. Can't find a single thing about it. Every single time I try and Google it, it just autocorrects to turmeric, the spice. Every single time.
I mean, a lot of the names of religions in Crusader Kings are manufactured because they didn't have a name for their own religion.
Yeah. A lot of names are kind of made up or like bastardized versions of what they might call themselves.
Yeah.
Vitalist being a big one.
Yeah, Vitalist is based on the name that they had for their priests, I think. So
Catholic, I think that's just.
Yeah, Catholic. I've never heard that word before in my life.
Well, the thing is with Suomenosko, when I was playing CK2 and I was playing in Finland, I showed it to my wife, who is Finnish, and she was like, "That literally just means Finnish religion."
Yeah,
it's just a direct translation for Finnish religion or Finnish faith, something like that.
Well,
so it does make sense to change it.
It's an imperfect abstraction because if you look at like this area that is covered by Ukonnusko and Turumik was probably like a continuum of semi-related folk beliefs. Even what they call Asatru was a continuum of semi-related folk beliefs. Like we have pretty good evidence from like personal names and place names that like the gods worshipped in Sweden and the gods worshipped in Norway and Denmark. Like some of them were the same, some of them probably weren't. I've talked at length about this on the Lore Sword Order channel if you want to check that out. But
one thing,
it wasn't like you would cross a river and be like, on this side people worship Uko, and on this side people worship someone else. Like, they were pluricentric, meaning there was not one central site of worship or one central authority, and it's very different from how we tend to think about religion in the West today.
It is something that I'd heard before about, especially Odin being an import from the Finnish religion, because if you look at all of the other like pagan religions, like for example Greek, Zeus is the king of the gods, and he's the lightning god. And then if you look at like the Norse religion, the lightning god is Thor, but he's not the king of the gods. There's one above him, which is Odin. Did Odin come from this religion? Is he Ukko? Kind of thing.
Linguistically, the god whose name corresponds to Zeus is actually Tyr, who is also called Tiu and even Ziu in some place. So you can see how that's related to Zeus. And he is the archetype of what would be the father, patron, king, god in most other Indo-European religions. Oddly, not in the Germanic religion, which is really the only one where the Sky Father, quote-unquote, god is not the main one. One theory is that Odin did come from maybe from the Sami or the Finns, or even another people group that was in southern Scandinavia before the Indo-Europeans got there that were assimilated or wiped out, and we don't even know about them anymore. I could get well into the weeds on like the Germanic language substrate theory. Where did all these words come from that don't exist in any other Indo-European languages and don't seem to be related to any other languages that we know about? That's like that's a deep area of interest for mine that I could do an entire
Ancient
podcast
aliens.
about by itself.
Oh,
it was aliens.
Yeah, let's just boot up Assassin's Creed Valhalla. It'll have all the answers, all of them.
The fact that there is no equivalent of Odin seemingly in any other Indo-European religion. The Romans wanted to call him Mercury. I don't really buy that necessarily. I mean, I don't buy that he was a cognate for Mercury. I
would have thought it was,
at least
as much as you like Germans, I don't think there would be much of a cultural impact as comparison to the other side of things from Persia, Iraq, India, which are far more cultural hotspots in that time. Surely most of the Greek gods would be far more impacted by Persian mythology and all that.
In terms of like cultural reach, it's I don't know, if you ever want to hear me talk at length about Germanic folk religion, come watch Lord Sworn Order.
So we have to thank Medev for this edition, and again in addition to helps me put a self-insert character in the game, and we've got an ugly reword.
And
So we got Harold Godwinson and
here about
Sven
the ugly rework. I can't see the difference, and I don't know if it's just my mild face blindness or what.
I can definitely see his nose it's smaller, it's higher up, and it's more puggish, and I think his eyes are slightly closer together.
I mean, Sven wasn't exactly the picture of beauty before either.
No.
He's just become a little bit more ugly.
Just showing the new extra level ugliness. It's a very nice system. Like, if I remember rightly, it just like stretches some of the genes and then picks one to like shift extremely, which is why you get some of the kind of gross looking. Like, wow, you really are ugly now. Ooh, I'm sorry, my man.
Okay. And I guess his mouth is smaller here.
Yeah, it's smaller, and it looks like it's more like down curved, kind of. Yeah.
To my eyes, it looks more asymmetrical, especially the eyes. Has he got slightly more cross eyes or is that just an illusion? I can't really.
No, and I think they also did that in who's the guy on the left?
Harold Godwinson.
Is that Godwinson? It looks like his mustache is lopsided now.
Oh, it totally is. It totally is.
Okay, now I'm seeing that.
Yeah, I mean,
very relatable.
We could also go off on a huge tangent about like beauty standards and how much you can actually say someone is objectively beautiful or ugly, but what tends to seem to be a strong correlation between what people think of as ugly versus beautiful has a lot to do with symmetry. So I can see why they would make characters with the quote-unquote ugly trait more asymmetrical.
Humans really like
sort of the CK2 looks where you'd get someone with like the 11 chin portrait and the beautiful trait, and you'd be like, really though?
Oh yeah, more chins is more beautiful.
Yeah.
Why have one beautiful chin when you can have 5 beautiful chins?
Yeah. Yeah. It would be interesting. That would probably be a lot more trouble than it's worth. But if different cultures had different standards for what was beautiful, that would be kind of an interesting way to do it. But
Yeah.
Because some throughout history, even like weight, like whether skinny people or fat people are seen to be more ideal has changed over time. So
I think that mostly depends on how well off the area is, because if you're fat in an area that's not very well off, you're kind of seen as like rich and
yeah. Really, I am a man born out of my time, I would say. in that regard.
You're not even that hideous.
I'm getting there after this lockdown.
Meneth is saying Philip of France turns into the Turning Point USA guy. His face turns tiny. I like that. Turning Point Francia. Yeah, hey Germans, if you're so powerful, then how could we have more land than you? Checkmate.
The Charlie guy. All right, yeah, I see it.
Yeah.
Okay.
He's already got a small face.
Yeah. Well, I think was that all the major changes?
There's some changes to matrilineal game rules, which I do have something to ask about. Actually,
I just need somebody to explain this to me, because this does not make any sense. I was trying to parse what these rules actually mean, and I was having a hard time with it.
I'll leave that to Matthew if you like.
Yeah.
Yeah, so I mean, it was by our game designer, but I mean, it's, as far as I can gather, it's basically tweaking when the AI will consider doing them, because by default, the AI isn't as concerned about matrilineal marriages because the AI can't really game over. So it just sort of does whatever would make sense to do as a marriage. It will try, if it's in an equal realm or a very important dynasty or female dominated, to use matrilineal instead. But if it's just some little kind of crappy count in some male dominated faith, they're yeah, sure, I guess. We can't game over, so it doesn't really matter that much.
Except they don't do it with the player. They'll say something like -1,000 because it's not a matrilineal marriage and she's my heir. And then they turn around and marry her to someone else. Regular marriage. Yeah,
I think there were some inconsistencies with the because there's two interactions, me asking an AI to marry them, me to them, and them asking me. And I think they had some slightly different weights. I'm not sure if our designers have tweaked that for 1.2. I think they tried to, along with the matrilineal game rules, to try and make it a bit more consistent and make it so that the options were a little bit clearer in the game rules.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Because I don't think I've ever seen Matilda of Tuscany get married matrilineally unless she's being played by a player.
I've also realized it's sometimes a bit of a problem if you're playing a female-dominated society. They don't really weigh up matrilineal marriages, so you end up having a lot of dynasties just pop out of existence because only women can inherit.
That happened in, I think, one of the first time lapses I did. I set it to flipped, so everything was female dominated, and none of the dynasties were very old by the end. They had just flipped so many times. It was 1,000 years or something.
Okay, so that's a good change then.
There's one game rule that I think might, I don't know if it needs looking at or anything, but when you have same-sex marriage being either allowed or having it be the primary type via the game rules, or same-sex relationships, sorry, the ability to have same-sex marriages might be nice to go along with that.
Yeah, that's something that we kind of do want to do. The team also wants it. It's just trying to do it in a way that's going to make sure we don't suddenly break a lot of things, because we need to make sure it's tested well enough, even just for the mods, because a lot of those debug checks that we have in the code for okay, try not to do something that is gonna by accident. So we need to have two versions of everything, one without the error checking to make sure you can do it, and one with. But I know it's something that a lot of people want, because there's no real strong reason other than the debug checks, really, just to make sure that the vanilla content we have currently doesn't break. But I know that a lot of modders want it as well, for sure.
Yeah.
Especially a way for, even if, for dynastic purposes, someone who was playing a homosexual character didn't marry someone of the opposite sex just so they could continue having children. But if they were a religion that allowed concubines or consorts, they could then get concubines or consorts of the same religion. Or the same religion, the same gender.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. I have faith that is probably something we will see at some point in the future, because I've heard from enough people on the team that it's something a lot of people want, that it seems like the motivation is there to figure out a way to do it, at least. So
yeah, we have Meneth in chat weighing in as well, saying the debug checks are important, so we can't just flip a switch to allow it. If we could, we would. It's a non-trivial undertaking and thus isn't a very high priority.
Right.
So it's not just like allow same-sex marriage equals 1.
Yeah,
change
change the
0
INI
to
file.
1.
Unfortunately, not quite like that. We've got to go through a lot of the code that makes some pretty strong assumptions.
It's more complicated than countries doing it. Gotcha.
All game development is just changing INI files from yes or no. Make game work, yes.
Yeah.
Yeah. Fix bugs equals true. You're like, nice.
That's right, yeah, done.
I've done my work for the day.
That's it, finished, send it to QA.
Fix today's bug reports, done.
Just go on to the
send it to QA and they realize you've misspelt true. That's how it works.
You just go onto the bug tracker and then just select all the bugs and then hit backspace. So you just delete them out of the bug tracker and then that's gone. Yeah.
I mean, that is always, you get a task made or a bug report and you just resolve won't fix. And they're like, why? This is a critical bug. You're like, yeah, but I just don't feel like it, And you just wait until your QA lead comes and punches you.
Just edit your own code.
I have a question for the game rules as well.
Yeah.
So, are we ever going to get the ability to have it remember our game rules like we had in CK2? And I'm not even just talking about the presets, just you've set your game rules for one game, you close CK3, and you open CK3 again, it remembers your defaults.
I'll give that a solid maybe.
Dennis is also saying strong maybe.
Yeah, strong maybe on that. It's one of those things where it's like, yes, we want it. It's just compared to, it's just in the huge list of things of what do we want to do for any given patch.
Only so many man hours that you've got.
I would really like that personally.
Oh, is there also something I wanted to ask about the character designer? Is there a way of saving a character on it? It's like
you can copy and paste the portrait DNA, but it doesn't save full character templates. That's another one of those things on the ever-growing to-do list, I believe.
No,
that would be
DNA
cool,
one,
but eventually.
So we're back to the Game Boy Color days where you had to write down a password if you wanted to reload the level you left off at.
You plug your CK3 into your Game Genie and you write your code down. That's cool though. So I didn't know. So it's not just saved on your computer; it's in a code. So theoretically.
When you copy the DNA, it gives you a very, if you paste it out, it's a very large definition of what every single gene setting should be. But it's very easy to just upload that onto some website Dropbox or something, or put it on the forums. So I do anticipate plenty of people sharing their celebrity lookalikes or favorite fantasy characters, or just ungodly abominations.
You have that for Mountain Blades, right? For the custom flanks that you could have in the game. I mean, you got an entire subreddit that's just dedicated to that. So I imagine there'll be DNA CK3 subreddit.
I predicted last week that the entire subreddit after this patch goes live, it's going to be all pictures of people making celebrities or the most fucked up possible combination of features that they could create.
See, you're all thinking way too small. See, what I want to do is go into the game files and find the DNA for the first Emperor of Rome, Augustus, and I want to play as him. I want to paste his DNA in.
Reincarnate him.
I think he's randomized because if I remember right, he looks very not Augustus.
He's incredibly fat. This is absolutely true. But he's in the game and he's the same every time you load it up. So I wanted to just find...
Where is he in the game, Bert?
Click the Byzantine. Click the Byzantine Empire and look at the history of the empire rather than the dynasty.
Okay.
I wonder if it's possible to do with Muhammad, I guess, because he's like the icon, isn't he?
Yeah, I mean, there's an override that just says, like, give no portrait plus, and then you get that, like, symbol instead.
Yeah.
There he is.
Like
that's what Augustus looks like.
Yeah.
I mean, if you save the game, then open the save file, you can find the DNA of any character that's been, like, looked at. So you can go in and copy that DNA for your rule designer character, Lambert. You can do your Augustus roleplay.
That's the plan. Augustus roleplay with he's going to be Hellenic. He's gonna be Roman culture, and I'm gonna recreate the Roman Empire with my boy Augustus.
Yeah,
he's reborn.
Like Augustus Gloop from.
Honestly, if I could just get the face to look somewhat similar, he can have a shave. It's fine, and maybe just slightly thinner. If I could change the DNA on that particular part as well, because from all accounts that I've read of Augustus, he was like half a sandwich away from being anorexic. The guy was not a very strong fella.
Yeah, we have a lot of artistic renditions of him. I just feel like it's probably fairly low priority to go in and like manually make the faces accurate for like all of the historical.
Oh yeah, I'm definitely not asking that. I just want to roleplay as Augustus Reborn.
This is why you have to get Chris King back on board, you know? It's because, like, that man is like an encyclopedia about every single historical character in CK2.
Yeah, is he the one that made St. Andrew Scottish? I don't even know if he worked on CK3.
That does sound like a Chris King thing.
Yeah, because I know until 1.1, I think, St. Andrew in the history files had Scottish culture. Well, before we get out of here, I do want to give a real quick chance for anyone in chat who has questions for Matthew about CK3 that haven't been answered yet. I don't think we missed any so far.
We've basically been asking them as they come up.
Yeah.
We've been very bad at like storing them.
Questions.
Yeah.
We also got the guesses for humankind, I guess, right?
Yeah, so for next week, make sure you write down, don't discuss it, just write down what you think the 10 humankind. Viewers, if you want to play along, you can make your own list and, post them in chat and,
ping us on Twitter.
Yeah. We just have to, I guess, work on the honor system that we're not going to, like, see some viewers list and be like, oh, yeah, that. Like, I want everyone to, like, come up with their own list on their own. Yeah. I'll probably make mine after we go offline here. For the contemporary era of Valorgain, which will be the last era that they haven't announced anything for yet. Well, we know one already. We know People's Republic of China is going to be one of them.
Yeah.
But, so that's a freebie for everybody right there. But I don't think they've announced any other ones.
We do have a question from the Sacred A. Is there any chance we can change the specific flags for titles in game? Like, I hate the Kingdom of Burgundy flag and want to change it.
Not for 1.2 at least. I know custom coat of arms is definitely something that we do want, both for like the ruler designer and sort of editing in game if we can as well. But in the interest of trying to get the ruler designer actually released with the like core features and like major feature parity of CK2, we decided to not do the custom coat of arms system because it would take quite a bit of time and it would have probably meant you wouldn't be seeing the ruler designer in any form until 2021.
Yeah, that makes sense.
Yeah.
And from like a business point of view, like, you want it with the Christmas stuff. 100%. Mm-hmm. New content, CK3, get out with Christmas sales. Bam. There we are. I could do the marketing for this.
Nailed it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, someone wrote a great write-up on like the rule designer dev diary and people asking, and they were like, I imagine it went like this. Product owner, we would like, custom portraits, custom character stats, and coat of arms. Developer, cool, we can do those two within the time you've given us. Product owner, okay. And that's pretty much the way it went.
We also have a question from Asiac. Are the new efficiencies for growing old, sick, tired, and depressed just event-based? A few people wonder about that one.
I believe it is event-based content, yeah. It's the sort of like all of the sickness and tired and depressed and infirm is event-based traits being given out.
Yeah, I hardly ever see infirm in CK3, or at least not nearly as much as I did in CK2.
Yeah,
so.
I think I've seen it once yet.
The reason for that might be that no events give it until 1.2.
Oh, that'll be it.
Oh, that would be why.
I think only one event maybe does, so it was very uncommon.
I always got infirm on CK2 every time I tried to commit suicide, because I'd jump off this really big tower and fail. And it was a horrible time. You can't even.
You got to build a bigger tower.
Yeah, I should. Well, my dude was an architect. He should have known.
That's one of those little details that we have more of in CK3, but I always wanted for CK2 was like, if you have that architect chain completed where you build a massive tower, it should really drag out the jumping from the tower event, as you're just going like 10 seconds later.
You have to unpause the game and wait a few days before you actually hit the bottom.
The event just has next page, and which loads another event, and it's like next page, another event, next page, another event, and now you're dead.
It would be great.
Yeah.
I want an event where, like, if somebody in your courts falls off a tower and you see them flying past the window. That's what I want.
All right, we should wrap up here.
I did have one last question for Matthew.
Oh, go for it.
Go for it.
What was your favorite part that you programmed in CK3?
I mean, my favorite thing to have programmed in CK3 is definitely the rule designer now. It's been my little baby for a good while now. So seeing that from sort of start to end and making it actually have all of the customization options for the portraits that we wanted and let you really go ham on the stats of the character and the traits, definitely been a wild ride, but definitely worth it in the end.
Awesome.
I've got one. Do you have a vanity character in the game, and where is he?
He's off in England somewhere. He's chilling around.
Which start date?
All of them are 1066, I believe. So he should be. You'd probably find him now. If I think he's at the court of the King of England's lover, I believe. I don't remember what her actual name is.
Matthew, do you have any social media or anything you want to plug?
I do exist on Twitter, and I post sometimes. Most of my posts recently have been rule designer teasers, which is Matt_Clohesy. I will paste in the chat. Other than that, no, I am a very anti-social social media person.
Fair enough. Rose, what have you been up to lately, and where can people find you?
I am on Twitch and YouTube, primarily YouTube at the moment, though Rosebud is stopping that. But with the 1.2 patch next week, I have plans with another content creator to do a little collaboration thing. You'll find out what that is later. I'm also continuing to work on CK3 achievements whenever the little Rosebud lets me.
Rosebud is your liege. You have to obey your liege. Yeah,
absolutely.
Lambert, what have you been up to? Where can people find you?
I have been playing some CK3, some Stellaris, and recently some EU4 over on Twitch, which then gets cut up and put on YouTube. Started a new collab just yesterday with Zlevik, who's been on the show before, Chewy Shoot, and some other great content creators. So a bit of a multiplayer bash going on there. It's quite a lot of fun so far. So yeah, links there. You can find me stuff. It's good. Hopefully.
Okay.
I'd like to say it's good. I don't know. I assume it's good.
Yeah, Lunatic and Legendary Reveler, I think, is that other one. That's a good combo right there.
I gave myself some interesting traits.
Loris, what have you been up to, and where can people find you?
I've been renovating my office. I've been doing something completely. Once again, yet another week where I've done something completely unproductive to everyone else on the internet. But I'm doing something very stupid. All right, I've got a pipe I've installed that will get water to my desk, and I'm going to get an instant boiling water so I can have tea making facilities at my desk. There we are.
Living
No
the
interest.
dream.
Damn, that's some galaxy
Look up to
brain
me.
moves right there.
All innovation is a product of man's laziness.
That's right, yeah. I can
Yeah,
literally can't walk 5 minutes to my kettle. I want to just sit here and make tea.
5 minutes
All
to
day.
kill. Where'd you live? Buckingham fucking Palace?
I'm a very slow walker.
We just need we need like a rural Welsh version of MTV Cribs just so we can see Father Loris's.
I really need
okay,
to know how you could
this
spend
is how
5
good-
minutes walking to a kettle.
One problem I've got is I didn't like the stairs in my house, so I destroyed them like a couple of weeks ago, right? I was with the intention of rebuilding them, right? I haven't got around to doing that. Instead, I'm installing
Wait, you
this.
destroyed the stairs in your
I've got-
house?
I've
Gets
got
up
no
with a
stairs in my
ladder.
house. No, I don't have a ladder. I lift myself up like every time. It's good for it's good exercise. But
See this. We need
How
photo
small or
evidence of
large are
this.
your staircase? Because I'm envisioning like a full staircase in like a 2-story house, and you just have really long arms.
well, I could jump up and
Oh,
sort
yeah.
of clamber up after I've grabbed it. But instead of building my stairs again, I've been installing this instant boiling water thing. So that's my priorities.
Wow.
Loris, are you the Grover House guy in real life?
Pretty
just
much.
tell us.
Also, are you okay?
Grover House Cymru, that's my house at the moment.
No wonder we aren't getting our art for YouTube and Twitch.
Oh,
Too
man.
busy
Yeah,
installing
the
pipes
artist
and
upstairs
going
and he can't reach
stairs.
it.
All right. I am at Lore Sworn Order on Twitch and YouTube. We are back on YouTube officially as of yesterday. Thanks to everybody who donated to fund a full playthrough of Assassin's Creed Valhalla. Lambert's been dropping in the chat here and there to comment on his dislike of Assassin's Creed.
Oh, I hate it so much.
Yeah, it's been good times. We're talking about Norse history and culture and ancient Norse religion and all that cool stuff.
That part's good.
We're going to be continuing that tonight, about an hour and a half after this stream ends. It'll be all up on YouTube later. I know that those are for people who watch this podcast. Hearing me say that, you're like, yeah, right. But no, look, go look at the Lore Sworn YouTube. There's actually stuff up there for the first time in like a year.
And it's good as well.
Yeah. You can follow the podcast, SoundCloud, Twitter, Spotify, YouTube, iTunes, Twitch, Stitcher, pretty much everywhere you can find podcasts. We're NoCB Cast. We'd appreciate follow us, leave some likes, leave some stars, reviews, all the stuff that'll help more people find us. I know there are a lot more Paradox players than there are weekly viewers here, so clearly there are people who like these games who have not heard about the podcast yet. So tell your friends to tune in, and we'll see you back here this time next week.
See you later.
Bye. It's all right.
Thanks for having me.
Thank you for
And
joining
Matthew,
us.
thanks for coming on. You're welcome back anytime.
Yep. 100%.
All that good stuff.
Oh, yeah, that too.
Yep.
Thank you.
All right. Later, everybody.